So after discussing work done in an isothermal process, here we will discuss work done in an adiabatic process. I have already given you an introduction to adiabatic process when we looked at various processes, various thermodynamic processes, and maybe I'll quickly revise what we discussed over there so that we're able to build connections as we go along in this video. So work done in an adiabatic process. What is an adiabatic process? It's a process in which the change in pressure volume occurs at different temperatures. The temperature is not constant. In isothermal process, temperature is constant. Here, temperature is not constant. So P, V and T, all of them may change. The condition that is satisfied over here is delta Q is equal to 0. That means there is no heat transfer. There is no heat transfer into the system or out of the system. And what I'll do is, again, I'll explain it with the piston cylinder arrangement that we always talk about. So let us say this is the piston cylinder arrangement, this is this piston, and we have an ideal gas over here at pressure P1, V1 and T1. Now what we want is that there should be no heat transfer going out into the system or out in the system. For that, two conditions need to be satisfied, and we need to take care of two things. One is, this is perfectly insulated. This is perfectly insulated. So this is near perfect insulation. So that whatever heat gets generated over here is not going out of the system. Also, the change in volume, right? Let us say these are weights over here which are keeping this volume. What happens is when let us say we want to compress this gas. So in isothermal process, we did that process extremely slowly because we wanted to give the heat an opportunity to leave the system so that temperature remained constant. In this case, we don't want the heat to leave the system. So what we will do is we will carry out compression at an extremely fast pace. That means we will push this piston down very fast. We will not do in a very slow way. We will push it fast so that the heat that gets generated over here does not get an opportunity to go out of the system, and it increases the temperature over here, increases the heat content of the system. So the two conditions that are required are, one is perfect insulation so that heat doesn't go out of the system. Two, extremely fast process. So I will compress this extremely fast, and the reason for this is so that heat does not get an opportunity to go out of the system. So if these two conditions are met, we will get nearly a perfect adiabatic process. Quite obviously, both these conditions are difficult to be realized strictly in practice, and therefore perfect adiabatic changes are nearly really impossible. You can't get a perfectly adiabatic process. So I hope at this point in time you have understood the difference between the adiabatic process and the isothermal process and the two conditions related to adiabatic and isothermal process. Okay, let's move further. Let us talk about a few examples. One of the examples is sudden compression or expansion of a gas with a perfectly non-conducting walls, perfectly insulated walls, as we saw over here. So sudden contraction or expansion. That is an example. Secondly, expansion of gas in an IC, that is internal combustion engine. We looked at this example when we discussed adiabatic process. So gas suddenly expands when the piston goes up, when the piston is moving back and forth in an internal combustion engine. Process happens very fast so that heat does not get an opportunity to travel outside. Expansion of steam in the cylinder of a steam engine is also an example of adiabatic process. So these are some of the processes, examples of adiabatic processes. And if you look at the equation, it is given by PV raised to gamma is equal to constant. At this point in time, we will not look at how this equation was arrived at. We'll simply take this equation as it is and carry on our discussion. So the equation is PV is equal to gamma is equal to constant, where you know gamma is equal to Cp upon Cv, the ratio of the specific heat of the gas at constant pressure and specific heat of the gas at constant volume. If you plot a graph of this, we'll get curves which are very similar to isothermal curves. The shape of the curves is very similar to that. I'll be making a separate video wherein we will do a comparison between the adiabatic curve and the isothermal curve and the relationship between them. At this point in time, I'm not talking too much about adiabatic curves. Maybe we'll discuss that in that particular video. Okay, so PV is equal to PV raised to gamma is equal to constant some constant k. Here we'll have to be very careful with the symbol v and gamma. So v will be like this, gamma will be something like this. So they look similar, so you'll have to be very careful while we are using v and gamma. I'll try to write gamma in such a way that you are able to clearly differentiate it from v. Okay, so PV raised to gamma is equal to constant. Now we know that PV is equal to RT for 1 mole of gas, and again we'll be discussing or assuming that we are discussing 1 mole of ideal gas. PV is equal to RT. So if I let us call this equation 1. If I put the value of P over here, which P is equal to RT upon V, so I'll get RT upon V into V raised to gamma is equal to some constant K. Now in this case, R is constant, right? So I can write this equation as T into V raised to gamma minus 1 is equal to some constant. The constant may change because K upon R it will become some constant because K and R are both constants. So I can get this particular equation for an adiabatic process in terms of temperature and volume. This was in terms of pressure and volume. This is temperature and volume. I can do similar thing by taking the value of putting the value of V from this equation. Here we put the value of P. Now I'll put the value of V. So PV raised to gamma is equal to some constant K. V is RT upon P. V is RT upon P. So I can write down P. Now V is RT upon P whole raised to gamma is equal to some constant K. So I'll get P R raised to gamma T raised to gamma upon P raised to gamma is equal to some constant K. In this, R is a constant and R raised to gamma would be a constant, so I can remove this and consider it as a part of constant. And this is P and this is P raised to gamma, so I can write down P raised to 1 minus gamma T raised to gamma is equal to some constant. So this is the equation for an adiabatic process in terms of pressure and temperature. So if we look at it, we have 3 equations and all of them represent the adiabatic process. Okay, so we got these 3 equations and now we will quickly get into work done for an isothermal process. Let me see if I am able to do it in this particular part. So work done we know is integration of P dV V1 raised to V2 for isothermal process, right? Or for any thermodynamic process. Now PV raised to gamma is equal to some constant over here. So what I can do is I can put the values of P over here, which is K upon V raised to gamma. So work done will be equal to integration of V1 V2. P is K upon V raised to gamma dV is equal to work done is equal to integration of V1 V2 K into V raised to minus gamma dV. So I can get K over here. I can get K out of the equation and get integration of V1 V2 into V1 raised to minus gamma dV. Right? Okay, so let's move further. Right? So I have got the equation W is equal to K integration of V1 V2 limit of V raised to minus gamma into dV. So this is the equation I have got. I'll take the discussion further on this. So K raised to integration of V raised to minus gamma, it will be V raised to minus gamma plus 1 upon minus gamma plus 1. This comes from this equation integration of x raised to n dx is equal to x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. Just to help you connect it with calculus, and of course the limits are V1, V2. Now this is a constant, so I can write this K upon 1 minus gamma V2 minus gamma plus 1 minus V1 minus gamma plus 1. or 1 minus gamma. I could write this as, so I can rewrite this as k upon 1 minus gamma upon V2. I can in fact take this k back inside. I can remove this 1 k 1 minus gamma minus k into V1 1 minus gamma. Now we know that P1 V1 raised to gamma is equal to P2 V2 raised to gamma is equal to K. This is the equation for the basic equation for an adiabatic process. So for this K, I can write down P2 V2 raised to gamma over here, and for this K I can write down P1 V1 raised to gamma over here. So this will become equal to, work done will be equal to 1 upon 1 minus gamma. For K, since this, we have V2 over here, I'll take this term P2 V2 raised to gamma V2 1 minus gamma minus, for K I will write down, since you have V1 over here, I'll take P1 V1 raised to gamma V1 raised to 1 minus gamma is equal to 1 upon 1 minus gamma. Now V2 raised to gamma into V2 raised to 1 minus gamma will be, I'm sure you're getting this, this will become V2. Let me explain it over here. So V2 raised to gamma into V2 raised to 1 minus gamma is equal to V2 raised to gamma plus 1 minus gamma. Minus gamma gamma will give me V2. Basic law of indices which you have studied in math. So this will become P2 into V2. Similarly over here gamma gamma will get cancelled out, so you'll get P1 P1 and this becomes one of the basic equations for work done in an adiabatic process. Also what we can do is, since PV is equal to RT, right? Therefore P1 V1 is equal to RT1 and P2 V2 is equal to RT2. I can put P2 V2 as RT2 and I can put P1 V1 as RT1 and I'll get R out common. So I will write this equation V is equal to 1 upon 1 minus gamma. For P2 V2 it is RT2 minus RT1. R I can take out common out, so I'll get R upon 1 minus gamma into T2 minus T1. So this is another equation for work done in an adiabatic process in terms of temperature. Here it is in terms of pressure and volume. So if I know any of these, I can find out work done in an adiabatic process. Okay, final point, lest this video becomes too long, we have obtained W is equal to equation for work done. As we say, delta Q is equal to 0, and if I use equation, the first law of thermodynamics, says delta W is equal to Q minus W. Since there is no transfer of heat, we are not transferring, therefore Q will be equal to 0. So delta U is equal to minus W. And that means if work is done by the gas, if the work done is positive, then delta U would be negative. That means internal energy will decrease. If work done by the gas, work done will be positive and therefore delta U will become negative. So U will decrease. That means temperature will decrease. And the opposite of it, if work done on the gas, that means we do compression, U will increase and temperature will increase. Right? That's the relationship between work done and internal energy with respect to the first law of thermodynamics for an adiabatic process. Thank you.